Good morning. I'd like to call to order the June 25th, 2021 meeting of the Board of Regents. Roll call, please.
Regent Hemmer.
Present.
Regent Ibrahim.
Present.
Regent Cradaville.
Present.
Regent Limbach.
Present.
Regent Clare.
Here.
Regent Kenny.
Here.
Regent O'Connor. Here. Regent Ferris. Here. Regent Pillen.
Here.
Regent Schaefer.
Here.
Regent Stark.
Here.
Regent Whites. Here. A quorum is present.
Thank you. In your materials, you have a copy of the minutes from the meeting on May 1st, 2021.
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussions on the minutes? Roll call, please.
Regent Ibrahim.
Present.
Yes.
Yes.
Regent Cradaville. Regent Limbach.
Yes.
Regent Hemmer.
Yes.
Regent Kenny. Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
Regent Whites.
Yes.
Regent Clare.
Yes.
The motion passes.
In compliance with Nebraska Open Meetings Act, the board has posted a copy of the act on the south wall of the boardroom behind the seating room for the press. It is my distinct honor to introduce the governor of the great state of Nebraska, Pete Ricketts. Governor Ricketts was sworn in as Nebraska's 40th governor on January 8, 2015, and re-elected the second term on November 2018. Over the past 6 years, Governor Ricketts has worked with Nebraska legislature to deliver $1.5 billion in direct property tax relief, reduce the rate of the state spending growth, cut unnecessary red tape to bolster Nebraska's business-friendly climate, expand international markets for Nebraska's farmers and ranchers, and create a workplace that talent development programs such as Nebraska's education community. Thanks in part to Governor Ricketts' leadership, Nebraska won the Governor's Cup for the most economic development projects per capita 3 years in a row from 2016 to 2018. Prior to being elected in 2014, Governor Ricketts had numerous senior leadership positions, including President and Chief Operating Officer of Ameritrade, a Fortune 1000 company in Omaha. Governor Ricketts also was a founder of Dracon LLC, a firm that worked to support and invest in Nebraska entrepreneurs and startup companies. Governor Ricketts and his wife, First Lady Suzanne Shore, have been married for 23 years and live in Omaha. They have 3 children, Roscoe, Margot, and Eleanor. Governor, it is truly an honor to have you join the University of Nebraska Board of Regents and the administration today to share your perspective on Nebraska's continued success and opportunities for growth moving forward. This is the first time anyone can recollect that a sitting governor has addressed the Board of Regents at an official meeting in the spirit of continued partnership. Please join me in welcoming Governor Ricketts.
Reception, Chairman Kenny, Board of Regents, President Carter, the rest of the University of Nebraska team. It is an honor for me to be here and to be at least the first time in recollection that a governor has addressed the Board of Regents. So I'm grateful for the opportunity. And I want to congratulate you all on how you have managed this pandemic and your selection of Ted Carter to be president of the university. This has been something that the word unprecedented has been overused on, but it's certainly true that our country has not faced a pandemic in over 100 years. And with President Carter's leadership, you all have navigated this to such a degree that the university is growing at a time when universities across this nation struggled. That is very commendable. And it gets back to leadership. When President Carter came out very early on last year and said there will be students in classrooms at the University of Nebraska, that set the tone for how this institution was going to respond to the pandemic. That is great leadership. And as a parent of a son who just graduated this past spring from the University of Nebraska, I can tell you I am really grateful personally for that leadership and how the university was able to continue to provide the high quality of education you all do. And I would also take this opportunity to point out that as my son had the opportunity to be in-person classes, I think for about half his classes in the first semester, I think almost all of his classes had in-person opportunities in the second semester. And the way that you managed the testing, the access to university, and kept, I think your positivity rate was just slightly over 1% for the testing and everything. You all managed the way through it to allow students like my son to get that great education. And I will point out that was not true in much of the rest of the country. I have 2 other college students, and let me tell you, they did not get that same experience. So you all are to be congratulated for the way you've managed this pandemic. It is absolutely fantastic, and let me tell you, it will pay huge dividends down the road. And now we also see that we're returning to normal here in Nebraska. Again, you all hosted 36,000 fans at the spring game. We're going to have 90,000 fans at Memorial Stadium for Garth Brooks a little bit later. We see restaurants starting to open up, and we see things returning to normal. And that is great news for the citizens of Nebraska. With the help of the university, we have been able to, and again, I want to thank UNMC for the great advice that we received early on with regard to this pandemic. The team there was, in fact, I was getting briefings in February of 2020, I think well ahead of many of my colleagues around the country. And that helped us put together a plan here in Nebraska to be able to navigate through this pandemic. Now, while again, nobody certainly had any experience in doing it, I think you can look back here in Nebraska and see that we've done a very good job. Across this state, our educators, not just at the University of Nebraska, but in our K-12 system, all stepped up to put together plans to have kids back in classrooms or accommodate parents who wanted to have their kids learn remotely. Nebraska had the 6th best attendance record, or 6th most kids in school across this last school year in the K-12 system. And again, I think that is going to pay huge dividends for us down the road as we saw other school systems in other states. I talked to one gentleman in California. His kids never were back in school this past school year. I think LA County went back on April 26th, missing entirely almost their school year. That is going to be a huge deal for us. While we've used the advice from the University of Nebraska Medical Center, we've constructed a plan that allowed us to slow down the spread of the virus, preserve our hospital capacity, and build up the resources to be able to respond to the pandemic. By doing that, we have one of the lowest mortality rates in the country. In fact, the Kaiser Family Foundation rates Nebraska actually the 3rd best of preventing mortality among the different states for people who actually contracted coronavirus. And while doing that, we've allowed people to return to a more normal life as best we could. And Nebraska had the lowest unemployment rate on average throughout 2020 at about 4.2%. Our unemployment rate today at 2.6% is 2nd best in the nation. We've been able to keep that low unemployment rate throughout the course of this 2021 so far. And of course, the leading economic indicator that you all do, Dr. Eric Thompson, has in May announced that for the 7th month in a row, we saw though that leading economic indicator continue to grow, which then projects that for the second half of this year, we will continue to see strong growth here in Nebraska. So again, the University of Nebraska has been a key part of how we've managed through this pandemic, and I'm grateful for that. And of course, we just finished up a fantastic legislative session. Working together with the legislature, we obviously not only continue to support the University of Nebraska, but we were able to pass a budget that continues to control spending here. The budget grows at just 2.4% annually. And in fact, that continues a string of budgets I've worked on with the legislature that control spending on average to less than 2.5% annually. But also, because we're controlling our spending, it's allowing us to be able to provide significant tax relief, $1.8 billion over the course of the next 2 years. 18.5% of our budget annually will be going to tax relief. And the significant portion of that, $1.7 billion, to property tax relief, which of course impacts our biggest industry, agriculture, here in the state of Nebraska. While we're doing that, controlling our spending and providing tax relief, we're able to continue to invest not only in the University of Nebraska, but in our rural broadband program, our Broadband Bridge Act, which will help connect another 30,000 Nebraska households with that high-speed internet through an investment of $40 million over the course of the next 2 years. We've been able to provide not only that property tax relief, but tax relief for our veterans. We're 100% exempt now on veterans retirement, and I'm sure President Carter really appreciates that personally. As do many other Nebraskans, obviously.
Nice timing.
Yep, yeah, good timing. We do that just for you. But that will help us hold on to our veterans who contribute so much to our communities. You know, we talk about workforce development. Veterans are a workforce that are already developed. We want to keep them here in our state. We also were able to cut the taxes on Social Security for our retirees in half. Provide tax relief for agriculture, for ethanol, for residential home water users. Number of different ways to be able to benefit folks. We were also able to pass significant licensing reform for the spouses of active duty military so that they could get their teacher's license here through not just regulation, but through the statute to make it easy for them to be able to start contributing to our communities. We passed licensing reform for healthcare professionals so they could get their licenses here in Nebraska. Again, one of the lessons from the pandemic. We were able to do truth in taxation, so taxpayers will know what was happening to their local property taxes. And then we were also able to make permanent one of the things that we did during the pandemic, which was carry out alcohol, which was possibly the most popular thing I've ever done as governor when I signed that executive order. So a fantastic legislative session that we had here working with the legislature. So I'm very excited about the results of that. And now, really, with pandemic coming to an end, us getting back to a more normal life here, and with the great legislative session, we're set up for fantastic growth here in the state of Nebraska. And once again, the University of Nebraska is a key part of that. I have my 4 pillars of how we grow our state, and the University of Nebraska has been key parts of that. First pillar is how we're developing our workforce. Last year, working together with the legislature, we developed the Career Scholarship Program to provide scholarships to our young people here in Nebraska so that they could pursue those careers and make that education affordable in those high-demand fields like manufacturing and technology and healthcare so that we can continue to train the future leaders here. And obviously, we're going to see great things from the University of Nebraska, from UNO, from UNK, from our state colleges, from our community colleges, as they work to help educate our folks. And in fact, this year we were able to expand that to the private colleges here in Nebraska as well. So that's a key role for the University of Nebraska to continue to develop that leadership for our state going forward. Another key area is trade. Now, obviously, during the pandemic, we have not been able to go on trade missions. But, Michael, you've been a key part of those in the past. Remember when you sat down with the chairman of CUPE and were able to work out the relationship with CUPE so that they would do research here on egg whites at the University of Nebraska. That's a great example of how the University of Nebraska, being a part of our trade missions, helps us to be able to develop relationships with companies who then invest here in our state and create jobs. Or help us open doors overseas so we can sell more of our products and services overseas. 95% of the world's consumers lie outside the borders of the United States. If we're going to grow, we have to grow by going out and getting those customers. And of course, since agriculture and manufacturing are our top 2 industries, those are both industries that rely upon selling what we produce here overseas. Fully 1/3 of what we grow here in the state goes overseas. So we want to make sure we continue to expand those relationships, and we will continue to do that in partnership with the University of Nebraska as international travel opens up once again and we can start doing trade missions overseas. And then, of course, the University of Nebraska is key in developing that #1 industry here, agriculture. For things like the Doherty Water for Food Institute or the food processing that we do here. You all have helped develop folks, and then one of the key areas also is Nebraska Extension. One of the things that I talk about when I'm visiting with folks is how our farmers and ranchers were the original conservationists. They wanted to pass along that farm or ranch to the next generation. And so they took care of the land and the animals to be able to do that. Nebraska Extension has been a key part of making that happen for many years. I was looking over some of the stats that you all had. Just in 2020, Nebraska Extension helped train over 8,600 folks in the proper use of application for pesticides. Through your programs, 87% of the people that you met with are now reviewing how their nitrogen management plans will help keep their soils more healthy. We know the great work that you do around livestock to be able to help grow that great industry here in our state. You look at our $21 billion in cash receipts from agriculture, $10.6 billion come from the beef industry. That is huge for us. That's over half. So that is an industry that you all continue to help develop here in our state. I think that you had, since 2001, over 1,200 cow-calf producers have been through your programs to look at how to increase the productivity with their operations. Just another example of how the University of Nebraska and Nebraska Extension has helped our farmers and ranchers be those conservationists. Our beef industry in the United States, for example, since the 1960s, has increased beef production by 66% while reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 40%. We're the largest irrigated state in the country. We have more irrigated acres than California. Yet through our system of water management, we have kept the Ogallala Aquifer within 1 foot of where it was in the 1950s. And U.S. News and World Report came out this year and said Nebraska has the 6th best natural environment of any state in the country. The University of Nebraska is a key partner in making that happen for our farmers and ranchers. So I want to thank you all for the great work that you have done. It's been a great partnership between the university and my office, and I'm grateful for that relationship that President Carter reached out to begin when he came here to the state of Nebraska. I think that is great for the state of Nebraska, that we've got a great working relationship between the University of Nebraska and the governor's office, and I know you've also got a great working relationship with the legislature. That is key for us all working together to be able to grow our state. We are in a fantastic position as we come out of this pandemic. By working together, we can lay that future growth to be able to make sure that we are creating those opportunities for our young people. I know this is something that is near and dear to each one of your hearts, and that's why you're sitting at this table today, because you want to create those opportunities for our young people so they can find those careers here in our state and ultimately allow them to be able to send their kids to school, go on that family vacation, buy a home, and enjoy the good life here in Nebraska. At the end of the day, that's why we are all here, to allow Nebraskans to enjoy the good life. So thank you all very much for the opportunity to be here. It's an honor to be able to address you. Thank you so much for what you do for our state of Nebraska. I am excited about our future. We've got so much work ahead of us, and you all have the right team to be able to make that happen. God bless you all in your work, and God bless the great state of Nebraska. Thank you.
Governor Ricketts, on behalf of our 52,000 students, our 16,000 faculty and staff, our 4 chancellors leading our 4 great campuses, our 8 publicly elected regents, our 4 student body leadership regents, and our entire university system, I want to give you my most profound thanks for coming here. Today is a historic day, the first time a sitting governor has ever addressed the University of Nebraska Board of Regents. Your remarks were inspiring. I want to personally thank you for the relationship that you and I have forged. Lynn and I are so thankful for getting to know both you and Suzanne, and it is making a difference. And your leadership in what you're doing for the university, particularly in what you're doing in student affordability, accessibility, what you're doing for the growth of the state, the workforce development elements. The Nebraska Career Scholarships is going to have a huge impact for all of us. And maybe in particular, as we've come through this roughest of years, as you mentioned, over 100 years, the relationship that we have, the common ground that we see, and the relationship, quite honestly, that all of us have with you and the legislature has allowed us to hold up and say that we were going to do the things that we were going to do, and that we have a very modest budget increase this year that has been supported by the legislature and you. And maybe most importantly, as I think about what's happening in our country, and seeing buildings falling down and infrastructure crumbling around our country, you, along with the legislature, supported what originally was LB 588, eventually LB 384, to allow us to invest in the 900 buildings, the 72% of the state-owned buildings that this university has a responsibility to maintain. And now we have a path forward that we will be able to not only take care of an $800 million backlog over the next 5 to 10 years, but over the next 40 years, we will be sustainable and be able to remove ourselves from the state roles in a budgetary manner. We are probably the only state university in the country that is able to say that we have a realistic plan that should probably be followed as a model across the state and the federal government. So I want to thank you personally. We would not be there without you, Senator John Stinner from Gering, and the legislature. Again, thank you for being with us. This is a day that none of us will forget. Thank you, Governor.
Although our new student regents were with us at the special meeting on May 1st, I'd like to take a moment this morning to formally welcome to the board. Noah Limbaugh is a pre-physical therapy student studying exercise science with a health science minor. A UNK junior, he serves as student body president and student regent, president of the Exercise Science Club, and also the vice president's recruitment for the Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity. He is also a chancellor's ambassador and a Thompson scholar. He is a volunteer around the world, Greeks advocating for mature management of alcohol, and the Order of Omega Honor Society. Noah has been recognized as a recipient of the 2021 Sigma Phi Epsilon Frank J. Ruck Leadership Award, 2020 Homecoming King finalist, Thompson Scholar Learning Community 2019-2020, Outstanding Student of the Year, Sigma Phi Epsilon Sound Body Member for the year 2020, Sigma Phi Epsilon member of the semester for the fall 2019. In the community, he serves as a volunteer track coach at Kearney High School, Skills for Success mentor, top soccer volunteer, along with involvement with many other organizations. Batoon, and you'll have to help me with your name. Ibrahim is a senior political science and global study major attending the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Batoon graduated from Lincoln Northeast High School and was raised in Lincoln, Nebraska. She has been involved with the ASUN student government for the past year as a senator for the Arts and Sciences and a co-chair for the Campus Life and Safety Committee before taking on the role as student regent and ASU president. Batul has passion for improving diversity, equity, and inclusion, and has focused on changing academic and campus climate to improve the experience of marginalized students. She has worked on COVID-19 community relief initiative that was awarded $20,000 grant to supply Lincoln and Omaha communities with wellness items and other family needs. Batul is a Nebraska Achievement Scholar, an Emerging Leader Scholar, also a TRIO Student Scholar. Taylor Cradaville is a fourth-year medical student from Nebraska Medical Center. He is from Omaha, Nebraska, and graduated from Gonzaga University in 2016 with a Bachelor of Science degree in biology and a minor in Spanish. After graduation, he worked at UNMC's Clinical Simulation Lab, earning his Master of Science degree in Medical Autonomy from UNMC. In his years as a medical student, Taylor has been in health policy and advocacy for serving as the president of the UNMC student delegates from 2018 to 2019, a member of the Metro Omaha Medical Society Board of Directors from 2018 to 2021, and an active member with the American Medical Association. His research interests include pediatric developmental diseases, medical education, asset-based community development. He currently serves as president of the College of Medicine class of 2022 and plans to pursue a residency in pediatrics. Welcome, Taylor. Eve Hemmer, a Regent Scholar and member sophomore, majoring in political science and minoring in human rights and leadership with public policy. She aspires to be a civil rights lawyer someday with a dream of working with the Southern Poverty Law Center. Towards realizing these future aspirations, she has served in student government for 2 years, first serving as a first-year ambassador as a freshman leadership council, and then the director of diversity, equity, and inclusion on the executive council. So her time in student government has advocated for expanding accessibility to hate and bias reporting information, improving inclusive for systems impact students on campus, ensuring equity and inclusion in the student activities, the budgeting process, and maximizing campus civic engagement. A very warm welcome to our student regents. The voice and presence of our regents on this board is invaluable. We are very glad to have you here. President Carter, I look across the room and also see many new faces sitting in the faculty president's table. Would you please be so kind to introduce these individuals?
Thank you, Regent Kenny. Before I do that, let's give a round of applause, please, for our student regents. I have the privilege to introduce the distinguished faculty who are assuming important leadership roles at the university as our new faculty senate presidents. Ben Malchek is an associate professor who joined the University of Nebraska at Kearney's social work department in 2015. Ben completed his graduate work at the University at Albany State University of New York, where he earned a PhD in social welfare, a master's of social work, and a graduate certificate in online learning and teaching. He received his bachelor's degree in marriage, family, and human development from Brigham Young University. Ben has conducted research and participated in policy work related to schools and high-risk neighborhoods. Ben's primary research interests include familial influences on adolescent behavior and well-being, competency-based education, and online education as a means of achieving social justice. Ben has taught social work with organizations and communities, introduction to social welfare, social policy and programs, diversity and social justice, and social media, digital activism, and e-citizenship. Welcome, Ben. Steve Colby is an associate professor of virtual production, interactive media, and cinematic arts at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. He has 20 years of experience in the film, television, and games industry as a 3D artist, department head, CG supervisor, and director. He came to the university 12 years ago, tasked with the role of building the foundation for an undergraduate focus in digital art for new media, animation, visual effects, virtual reality, and games. That foundation has now grown into the proposal and creation of a new Johnny Carson Center for the Emerging Media Arts. Colby's credits include the Oscar-nominated film Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius and the subsequent television series, and Kung Fu Panda, Secrets of the Furious 5. In 2010, while working at UNL, Colby won an Emmy Award while serving as technical director for the Back at the Barnyard television series. His research endeavors are currently centered around VR, AR experiences, learning more towards training, medical applications, athletics, and group dynamics. Welcome, Steve. Aaron Mose is an associate professor in the Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, is a member of the Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Center, and shares a courtesy appointment in biochemistry and molecular biology at the University of Nebraska Medical Center. Dr. Mose received his Bachelor of Arts in Chemistry from the St. John's University College of St. Benedict and received his PhD in pharmaceutics and pharmaceutical chemistry from the University of Utah. Dr. Mose then completed his postdoctoral fellowship in the Joint Emory Georgia Tech Department of Biomedical Engineering as an Emory Georgia Tech Center for Cancer Nanotechnology Excellence Distinguished Fellow. Dr. Mose has an active collaborative research program on the development of fluorescent probes to guide the surgical resection of tumors. Most recently, his group has developed fluorescent sensor array technology that can rapidly detect and identify bacterial pathogens. Dr. Mose teaches pharmaceutical sciences in the PharmD and PhD programs. Dr. Mose recently served as the director of the Pharmaceutical Sciences Graduate Program and actively serves on several college and university committees. Prior to joining UNMC in 2015, Dr. Mose was an assistant professor of biomedical engineering in the Wake Forest Virginia Tech School of Biomedical Engineering and Sciences. Outside of the lab, Dr. Mose enjoys spending time with his family and, yes, even plays some golf. So welcome, Aaron. And finally, we welcome Liz Westling. Now, Liz is not with us. I believe she's with us virtually. Liz grew up in a military family with her father serving in the United States Air Force. She was born in Marion, South Carolina, but never lived there. Instead, she grew up moving to different states up and down the East Coast for a little while in Italy. Once her family moved to Offutt, the move settled, and she was able to go to high school and college in one place. She has been blissfully married to her husband, Willie, for over 20 years, and they have 3 amazing children, Lindsay, 16, Daniel, 14, and Matthew, 12. All of her degrees are from UNO. Liz earned her Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education with endorsements in Mathematics and French in 1996, a Master of Arts for Teachers of Mathematics in 2001, and an Educational Doctorate in Educational Leadership in 2016. She has been teaching for 25 years in a parochial grade school, public middle school, and high schools, and now at UNO. She is currently a lecturer at the College of Business in the Marketing and Entrepreneurship Department. For fun, Liz enjoys spending time with her family, camping, riding bikes, playing board games, and watching movies. So a special welcome to Liz and all of our faculty senate present. Welcome to you all.
At the beginning of each Board of Regents meeting, we take time to recognize those persons who too often don't receive the recognition they deserve. The Board of Regents believes that it's vitally important that we acknowledge your commitment as well as your contributions to the university. To have been nominated by either a supervisor or a fellow worker in this honor or of itself. As the Kudos recipients are announced, please come to the podium, join the regent making the presentation. Following the presentation, we'll take a photo and will appear on our website. President, Chancellor, and the recipient's family will be part of the photo. The first Kudos recipient is Michael Christian from the University of Nebraska, Kearney. The award will be presented by Regent Pillen.
Good morning. The Board of Regents is pleased to recognize Michael Christian. Congratulations, Michael. This is the first Kudos that is single-spaced, small print, so we have a lot to recognize Michael with. You've done a lot. You're making things happen. Congratulations. UNK Director of Business Services and Executive Director of University Village. Michael's hometown is Anselmo, Nebraska, and his history with UNK is fascinating. It started long ago before joining UNK's managerial team in 2016. His grandmother graduated from Nebraska's Teachers College in 1938. His mother graduated from Kearney State College in 1989, and Michael graduated from UNK in 2014. He's also completed his master's in business administration at the University of Kansas in 2015. As Director of Business Services, Michael oversees campus dining services, the Antelope Bookstore, and contracted partnerships such as concessions, vending, and banking services. He also manages with guidance from General Counsel and all UNK contracts, supervises mail services and sponsorship contracts, and assists departments with financial analysis. He has co-chaired Travel BRT in creating the university-wide employee travel policy and has assisted in managing the renovation of all the dining retail concepts, campus bookstore, and the current renovation of the main dining hall, which is fantastic, by the way, Michael. Michael also maintains and oversees insurance policies and claims. On February 18th, a catastrophic flood in UNK's Varner Hall of Science ruined millions of dollars in equipment, research, supplies, and space, and Michael served as the primary insurance contact. He has been fantastic in the process of restoring BHS, says Professor of Biology and Assistant Department Chair Kim Carlson. He really cares, and it shows in his work ethic, his commitment to faculty, and his commitment to UNK. As Executive Director of University Village, Michael manages developmental operations. He is Executive Director and Secretary for the University Village Development Corporation of Kearney and recruits and assists current and potential developers. He led efforts in creating and executing University Village Master Lease and the creation of covenants, conditions, and restrictions, executed replatting of the site, assisting in the recent multi-phase $48 million investment with private partners, is currently working to recreate logos, branding, and marketing. Vice Chancellor of Business and Finance, John Watts, describes Michael as extremely talented. John, that's an understatement, I think. And one who consistently produces great work and constantly brainstorms new ideas to overcome unique challenges. Please join me in congratulating Michael Christian for incredible work on behalf of the University of Nebraska at Kearney. With Michael today as his parents, Mark and Robin, and his supervisor, Vice Chancellor John Watts. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Michael, for everyone's personal interest too. Anselmo's getting pretty close to Amherst. Regent Hammer will present the Kudos Award for Scott Kurz from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Regent.
Hello, everyone. The Board of Regents is pleased to present a Kudos Award to Scott Kurz, Physiology Laboratory Manager in the Department of Animal Science at the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. Scott has been the Physiology Laboratory Manager since 2012, where he supervises and trains students from 4 physiology faculty labs and others that need to utilize radioactivity or equipment within the physiology laboratory. He also maintains the viral-free mouse and rat space in the animal science complex and ensures that the day-to-day care for these animals are conducted, which includes supervising many undergraduate student workers. In addition to managing all of these resources efficiently and effectively, Scott still has time to train undergraduate students, fix or refurbish equipment, pick up necessary samples or dry ice on his way home or to work, and mentor graduate students as they work on their research projects. According to Scott's nominator, his value as a member of the physiology group was particularly evident during the COVID-19 university shutdown. As the only physiology lab manager classified as essential, it fell upon Scott to care for mouse colonies, essential equipment, electrical emergencies, and any required purchases. Quote, Scott would text us when he entered the building and when he left in case any of the physiology faculty had things they needed him to take care of that day. End quote. Often working 12-hour days, Scott did his job as well as the work of several others during this shutdown. Scott balances his responsibilities while investing in the undergraduate and graduate students within the department. He is a hardworking employee that gives unselfishly of his time and talents above and beyond what is required. Today, joining Scott are his wife, Pam Kurz, and his supervisor, Andrea Cupp, OMVED Professor of Animal Science. Please join me in thanking Scott for his dedication to the Department of Animal Science in the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
Thank you, Scott. Regent Stark will present the Kudos Award to Julie Bodenkamp from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
Julie, on behalf of the Board of Regents, I am pleased to present a Kudos Award to Julie Bolenkamp, Online Testing Resource Coordinator for the UNMC College of Nursing. This past year, Julie was instrumental in implementing Exam Monitor, which the College of Nursing used throughout the pandemic to administer remote testing for each of the 5 campuses. She continually streamlines testing processes, troubleshoots testing issues, and provides updates on Exam Monitor, ExamSoft, and other student testing remediation programs. Said one faculty member, her mentoring and dedication to the spirit of learning new methods for exam integrity are unprecedented. During this past year, Julie also implemented Zoom protocol proctoring and provided faculty with multiple ways to achieve their desired outcomes in regard to testing and exam security. Nominators say she is goal-oriented, selfless, patient, collegial, helpful, and continually looks for ways to give students a better learning and testing experience. Said one person, she strives to make testing as stress-free as possible for both students and faculty. I know about that area. Another commented that although life and death is real, only in the patient setting, students have the same level of stress in a high-stakes testing environment. Thank you to Julie and her high levels of integrity. She offered altruistic solutions that reduce excessive stress, thus supporting the mission and vision of UNMC and the interest of UNMC's customers, the students. Please join me in thanking Julie for her commitment, integrity, passion for assisting students and the faculty in UNMC College of Nursing. Congratulations, Julie.
Congratulations, Julie. Sarah Weil from the University of Nebraska-Omaha is our final recipient. The award will be presented by Regent Cradaville.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, certainly, last but not least, the Board of Regents are pleased to present a Kudos Award to Sarah Weil, the Title IX Coordinator for the University of Nebraska-Omaha and member of the UNO Office of Diversity, Equity, Access, and Inclusion. Sarah has been with the university since 2019, where she joined the Deputy Title IX Coordinator role and moved into her current role as on an interim basis in 2020 and then formally in 2021. As part of her role and responsibility, Sarah oversees compliance, education, and campus leadership for statutes, regulations, investigations related to Title IX and sexual misconduct policies at UNO. In her nomination, Sarah was applauded for going above and beyond by leading several important updates to the campus policies, including development of a unifying policy and procedure documentation for the University of Nebraska system. And this included development of new sexual misconduct policy, new sexual misconduct procedures for employees, and sexual misconduct procedures for students as well. And Sarah is also responsible for spearheading efforts to understand and respond to new guidelines developed and released by the U.S. Department of Education, which the university is required to be in compliance with. And in partnership with campus stakeholders, Sarah identified and ensured necessary updates to important documents used regularly as part of the compliance process. And in addition to these necessary updates, Sarah's been recognized for her dedication to inclusion, making sure any new forms and documents use appropriate language for all impacted individuals on campus. And this included new training programs that were updated and incorporated using inclusive language and terminology. Beyond these major campus initiatives, Sarah is lauded for her integrity and calm under pressure as she navigates difficult discussions and decisions that bring with them high levels of emotion. However, this focus has not impacted Sarah's welcoming presence and commitment to making sure everyone is not only informed but supported. All these attributes make Sarah a valuable member to both the Maverick family and the larger University of Nebraska community. And as an Omaha native, very proud to have you. Please join me in thanking Sarah for her dedication and commitment to UNO.
Congratulations, Sarah. As you all know too well, here at the end of June, Susan Fritz will step down as Executive Vice President and Provost of the University of Nebraska. Today is her last Board of Regents meeting as Executive Vice President and Provost. I have asked Regent Weiss to offer up a resolution on behalf of the board in gratitude and recognition of Susan's contribution to the University of Nebraska.
Thank you, and I'm asking Elizabeth O'Connor and Latuna and Maeve as other women regents to come up and help me do this, so. Hello, and as you can tell, this is really an extraordinary moment, and I think it's important for the university to be aware of just what an incredible treasure we've had in our presence for a very long time. And I think it takes more than one regent to thank her and make this resolution, so I've invited all of the other women regents who stand on her shoulders. And have moved to where we are and hopefully beyond. So whereas Dr. Susan Fritz served as a professor in the University of Nebraska-Lincoln's Department of Agricultural Leadership, Education, and Communication with an appointment in Women's and Gender Studies since 1994, where she excelled in teaching, research, and service. Whereas Dr. Fritz's professional expertise led her to service as a two-time U.S. Department of Commerce Baldrige Evaluator, a North Central Higher Learning Commission Evaluator, a W.K. Kellogg APLU Food Systems Leadership Institute Commissioner, and a Fulbright Senior Specialist with an assignment in Croatia. And we know she's carrying that forward next fall as a Fulbright committee member, picking the ones from Eastern Europe. So her work continues there. Whereas Dr. Fritz honorably served the University of Nebraska as the Executive Vice President and Provost and Dean of the Graduate College from 2012 to 2021. Whereas Dr. Fritz has been a role model, and I can speak to that, for aspiring women, students, staff, faculty, and administrators as the first woman to serve as a head of a peer department nationally, the first woman to serve as an associate dean of College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources, interim dean of the Agricultural Research Division, and director of the Nebraska Experiment Station at UNL, and the first woman to serve as NU Associate Vice President of Academic Affairs, and the first woman to be an interim University of Nebraska president. Whereas Dr. Fritz, during her service as interim NU president, led the partnership of the University of Nebraska, Nebraska State College System, and Nebraska Community Colleges to garner potential $32 million of annual commitment from the state of Nebraska to fund scholarships for resident students majoring in programs leading to careers with high skill, high need, and high wages. Very important. Whereas Dr. Fritz led the development and implementation of the system-wide shared application allowing resident students to apply to multiple NU campuses at one time, and spearheaded the development of a system-wide student code of conduct, which reflects the paths of students enrolled in more than one NU campus. Whereas Dr. Fritz led the effort to establish and fund the Nebraska statewide workforce and educational research system in partnership with the Nebraska State College System, Nebraska Community Colleges, Nebraska Department of Education, the Nebraska Department of Labor, and the University of Nebraska to create an opportunity to use good data for great decisions for Nebraska students and workforce. Whereas Dr. Fritz served as the NU point of contact with the Susan Thompson Buffett Foundation, whose generosity to Thompson scholars has impacted the lives of thousands at Promise NU students. Whereas Dr. Fritz led the budget response team process charged with identifying budget cuts and, there it is, budget cuts and process improvements to yield $22 million on permanent cuts. Wow, very difficult job. Whereas Dr. Fritz partnered with the NU Foundation to launch the Big Ideas process as an initial step in the Foundation's campaign to identify multi-campus, multi-faculty-driven proposals for funding which build on campus strengths and position the university system for increased national and international prominence. Whereas Dr. Fritz championed initiatives to increase the inclusivity of NU and its campuses through efforts such as establishing and supporting the work of the Non-Binary Gender Values Committee. Whereas Dr. Fritz mentored many students, staff, faculty, and administrators across the NU system and the United States, inclusive of gender, race, ethnicity, and sexual orientation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Regents of the University of Nebraska extends its thanks and congratulations to Dr. Susan Fritz for her leadership, her vision, her service, her passion, and her unwavering commitment to people and place. Congratulations.
Barbara, I think I'd need a drink of water after reading all that. Thank you so much, and thanks for the endurance to listen to that. I will just say that it has been humbling to serve in this capacity as the Executive Vice President and Provost, but also humbling to serve this university. I have great optimism for the future of the university. In fact, as some of you know, I've slated my 7 magnificent grandchildren to come to these campuses, and so I have a vested interest in the upward trajectory that we're on, the excellent leadership that we have. And Regents, I thank you for your partnership and all that you do every day to help us in the pursuit of excellence. Thank you so much.
Susan, want to get a photo?
I don't know. You too.
A reprise.
Come on.
If there's no objection, I suggest that this resolution be adopted by acclamation. Hearing no objections, it is so adopted. While our Kudo guests are welcome to stay and observe the balance of the meeting, if you wish, please take no offense if you'd like to leave at this time. Thank you for coming. Now I'll turn it over to President Carter to provide some remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first thing I want to say is congratulations to Dr. Susan Fritz. 32 years of service to the university and pretty much every job that you could have from faculty member to president. It should not be a surprise to anyone that in my authority as president of the university, we will be granting her emeritized status. So again, congratulations on your service, and we know that you'll stay connected to the university. As this is the end of the fiscal year, and it's a chance for a moment of reflection, we heard such a great summary from our governor and so many of the wonderful things we've already talked about today. I felt I should spend a few minutes to discuss a little bit of what's come from behind us and where we are going forward. As we emerge from COVID, we are in a position of strength. A great credit to the people in this room, the chancellors, the vice presidents, the board, to include our student regents. And I want to specifically lift up the 4 colleagues sitting across from me, the faculty senate presidents, 3 with us today, 1 virtually. The leadership, resolve, and dedication of our faculty is what has sustained the excellence of our university, even through unprecedented challenges. Let me give you a few highlights, just so you have a taste of our momentum. First, I want to quickly mention that we are welcoming some new faces. We are welcoming some new faces into key leadership positions across our system. It is always bittersweet to say goodbye to long-serving colleagues. Fortunately, we've been able to fill some of these openings with outstanding talent. Dr. Joanne Lee, who will assume the UNO chancellorship in 6 days. Dr. Lee is neck-deep in transition work as chancellor-elect, and we are so thrilled to have her on the board. Stacia Palzer, who is still serving as our corporate secretary, will replace Jim Podorf, who is retiring, and she will become our general counsel. Filling in for Stacia in the corporate secretary's role will be Phil Bakken. And as we just said goodbye to Dr. Susan Fritz, Dr. Jeffrey Gold will succeed Susan Fritz as executive vice president and provost. Second, we are growing in every sense of the word. Enrollment growth at a time when many other institutions declined, the result of our investment in students, especially the Nebraska Promise, which helped drive growth among underrepresented students. Growth in research, just announced this week that we are ranked among the best in the world at bringing the innovations of our faculty to the marketplace, a fitting recognition for the entrepreneurial work of our faculty in areas like agriculture, medicine, and engineering. We are growing physically. Kiewit Hall, groundbreaking on Monday, where we will educate future generations of engineers. Monroe Meyer Institute dedication. Discovery Hall at UNK. The very exciting Kaiser Hall renovation at UNO, for which we will speak to more in later detail. And I could give you so many more examples. The connective thread is that these efforts are made possible by public-private partnerships. When the wisdom of our elected leaders comes together with the generosity of our philanthropic community, anything is possible. We are open for business, becoming one of the first universities in the country last spring to declare our plans to safely return students and faculty to campus. We were innovative and flexible in delivering the kind of education that our students expect and deserve. In fact, let me give you a statistic that our CIO, Brett Blackman, just shared with me. In 2020 alone, we upgraded the technology in over 400 classrooms at UNK, UNO, and UNO to allow our faculty to simultaneously connect with students in person and remotely. This technology is about giving faculty as many tools as possible. We expect this will benefit us well into the future as we think about how to make classes and campus events available to broader audiences. Just one example of the quick and creative work that Brett, Dr. Jackie Lindberg, and their team did to help us adapt. And the chancellors and their teams are hard at work preparing for a return to more normal operations this fall. We are so excited to welcome back all the things that make university life great: artistic performances and events in full classrooms and so on. We cannot stress enough that vaccination is truly the path to normalcy, and I am thankful for so many of our faculty and staff who have taken advantage of that and we will be still encouraging our students to vaccinate for those that haven't when they return. If you haven't been vaccinated yet, we do highly encourage you to do so. And in fact, if you're part of the UNL community, Chancellor Green just announced some enticing prizes for those who to get their shot. So including a year's worth of tuition and a trip to Ireland for the 2022 Northwestern game. Finally, let me just spend a few minutes talking about the budget proposal that will come before you in your agenda, really the centerpiece of our business today. And by the way, all of this information that we're talking about today is on our website, along with detailed documents about the university's spending, our salaries, and our audited financial statements. We take a great deal of pride in being transparent about our budget. That being said, I've asked our team to look for opportunities to organize our budgetary information on our website in an even more user-friendly and transparent way, so that Nebraskans can quickly and easily find information that they are seeking. I will be coming back to you more with an update on how to do this, but I will tell you right up front that Nebraska has been and will continue to be the most transparent public state university in the country. It is often said that a budget is more than numbers on a spreadsheet. It's a statement of an organization's priorities. This budget is a statement of the University of Nebraska's priorities: students, faculty, and infrastructure. It is a statement of strength, discipline, and good planning. With this budget, we are showing Nebraskans that we have built a plan and we are sticking to it. We're doing what we said we were going to do, and let me just highlight the key elements. One of the things we're most excited about, an across-the-board tuition freeze made possible by the legislature and the governor's approval of our modest state funding request. My commitment to our elected leaders is that the University of Nebraska will not ask for a penny more in state dollars than we absolutely need. We are grateful for the state's support this year. The University of Nebraska will continue to be one of the most affordable institutions in our peer groups. We will continue our investment in financial aid, including the Nebraska Promise, which created access for 1,000 additional low and middle income Nebraskans this year. It's a powerful statement to Nebraska families that higher education is within their reach. We will take care of our faculty. For too long, UNL and UNMC faculty salaries have lagged behind their peers, and we have been unable to close that gap. That has serious consequences when it comes to recruiting and retaining top talent. Our faculty are among the best in the world at what they do, and they deserve to be compensated appropriately. Our budget includes a modest 1.5% merit pool, with plans for a 3% merit pool next year and an additional $6 million to address inequities. And in accordance with our deferred maintenance plan that we built with Senator Stinner, we will begin investing in building renewal and repair projects immediately across our campuses. I want to again take the opportunity to publicly thank Chairman Stinner for his leadership on this effort. University buildings are valuable state assets, and thanks to our partnership with elected leaders, we will be able to ensure that these facilities are suited for 21st century teaching and learning. Last month, we took a $400 million worth of bonds to the market and had an extraordinary response. Twice as many orders as bonds available. That strong demand allowed us to lock in a historically low interest rate of 2.99%, which we project will deliver $1.5 billion in savings to Nebraskans over the next 40 years. We are putting the funds to immediate use. The Kaiser Hall renovation I mentioned earlier is our first project out of the gate, and others will come to you as chancellors finalize their plans, and we will be public about what those priorities are. We expect those will include Architecture Hall and the music building at UNL, the College of Allied Health Professions building and nursing facilities at UNMC, the Ryan Library at UNK, and others. I want to be clear how we're able to make these kinds of strategic investments. Last year, the chancellors and I, as we thought about our long-term plans, made a deliberate decision to concentrate our limited resources where they would make the greatest impact. We knew we had to address immediate challenges presented by COVID-19 while also not losing sight of our priorities. So we imposed upon ourselves a 3-year, $43 million reallocation process. Now let me be clear, this hasn't been easy. We've had to take some tough decisions. Just like any Nebraska family or business, we had to be very disciplined in our spending. But frankly, in some cases, we have found ways to do business more effectively and more efficiently. Here's another example from our internet technology shop. For the first time in the history of the internet at the University of Nebraska, our information technology team has implemented a new unified network that is improving scale, speed, and security for students and faculty across the university. Because we've been able to take advantage of the scale provided by the one IT structure, this new unified network gives us $21 million in contract savings. And that's not including our other efficiencies that we are achieving in contracts for things like our network, laptops, and classroom technology. Kudos to our IT team for truly being a model and how scale can bring us not only fiscal savings, but also improved services to our faculty and students. Ultimately, our reallocation process will allow us to focus on our priorities, our students, faculty, and infrastructure. I want to comment on one line in the budget that you will vote on today. There's a $12 million line for campus investments. Last year, as we built our plan, we projected enrollment declines that we knew we would have to compensate for. While we did see declines in some areas, for example, international enrollment, as you would expect, the excellent work of our chancellors led to overall growth that put us in a stronger position than we initially anticipated. Those funds rightfully are going back to the chancellors to invest in local priorities. For example, I know we have plans to invest in cybersecurity, student recruitment, and other areas. We're pleased that the chancellors will have this additional degree of flexibility, and I have full confidence that they will direct their investments in areas that will move us forward, and as always, be transparent in how they spend that money. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to conclude by saying thank you to the board for the strategic vision that all of you have provided. We are in an exciting trajectory with so much more to come.
Thank you, President Carter, and thank you for the leadership over the last year. The standing rules of the board provide that any person or person may appear to address the Board of Regents on items that are not on the agenda. If an individual provides the corporate secretary with 24 hours notice, the corporate secretary did not receive any requests to speak on items that are not on the agenda. The standing rules further provide that anyone desiring to speak concerning any item on the agenda for this meeting, regardless of notice, may do so. Each person or persons wishing to speak will be given up to 5 minutes to make remarks. Public comments will be limited to a period of 30 minutes. Is there anyone that would like to address the board to be part of today's agenda? If so, please come and identify yourself and complete the sign-in form. You have 5 minutes to address the board. There being none persons wishing to comment, I declare the opportunity for public comment closed. Now it's time to consider the consent agenda. The consent agenda is indicated by its name. It's moved and voted on by a group of action items, opposed to the administrative agenda where the items are considered and discussed individually. With that being said, unless my colleagues on the board wish to consider any items on the administrative agenda, I would invite a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion's been made. We need a second.
Second.
Motion and second. Are there any comments on the consent agenda? Dacia?
Regent Cradaville,
Yes.
Regent Limbach,
Yes.
Regent Hemmer,
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you, Stacia. I would now ask President Carter to guide us through the administrative agenda.
Thank you, Chair Kenny. The first item here under the academic affairs side is addendum 11A1. Approval is requested to establish a university-wide consensual relationships policy. This policy is intended to address and reduce the risks of conflicts, misperceptions, and claims that may arise out of consensual romantic relationships between faculty or staff members and students, as well as those that may arise out of consensual romantic relationships between a supervisor or evaluator and a subordinate. This proposed policy prohibits faculty members from engaging in any romantic relationship with an undergraduate student, regardless of whether the faculty member has any supervisory or evaluative authority over that student. Similarly, it prohibits faculty and staff members from engaging in any romantic relationship with a graduate or professional student within their same academic unit, as well as any graduate or professional student over whom they currently have or might reasonably be expected to have any direct or indirect supervisory or evaluative authority. Additionally, it prohibits other academic staff members from having any institutional responsibilities over any students, both undergraduate and graduate/professional, with whom they currently have or previously had a romantic relationship. Finally, the policy prohibits faculty, staff, and other academic staff members from exercising direct or indirect supervisory or evaluative authority over any employee or student with whom they currently have or previously had a romantic relationship. Recognizing that romantic relationships will inevitably develop in some circumstances, the policy provides that such relationships are properly reported. There's an opportunity to develop a conflict management plan that would eliminate any supervisory or evaluative authority between the parties. This proposal has been reviewed by our faculty senates, the Council of Academic Officers, and the Academic Affairs Committee.
Is there a motion to approve item 11A1? Motion been made. Now we need a second.
Second.
Barbara, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none. Stacia?
Regent Limbach.
Yes.
Regent Hemmer. Regent Ibrahim.
Yes.
Regent Cradaville.
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
Regent Whites.
Yes.
Regent Clare.
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
The motion passes.
The next item is a item on the addendum 11A2. Approval is requested to amend the University of Nebraska 4-year graduation guarantee. The amended guarantee outlines student and campus obligations designed to ensure undergraduate students are able to graduate in a timely fashion. If a first-time freshman student enrolls at a given University of Nebraska campus and continues to fulfill the requirements detailed in the guarantee, the university guarantees the student will be able to enroll in courses that permit graduation within 4 years. If that is not possible, the university will provide alternatives or substitutions. If a student fulfills the guarantee's requirements and isn't able to graduate in 4 years, the university will cover 100% of tuition for any additional courses needed to graduate. These amendments have been reviewed by the Council of Chief Academic Officers and the Academic Affairs Committee. I recommend it to you for approval.
So moved.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any comments? Regent Clare?
I really appreciate and am excited about this guarantee for a variety of reasons. First, for families or for the student themselves, if they're providing the cost of education, this gets them done in a quicker fashion, reducing student debt, student costs, and gets them out in the workforce quicker in the event they did have to take on some debt to enable them to get that debt paid off. It's also extremely beneficial from the standpoint that our state has jobs that are needed to be filled, and our part of the partnership to help our state go is to educate young people, get them prepared for life after school, and get them out in the workforce. And so this is not only a benefit to the student, it's a huge benefit to the state. And I would encourage employers from around the country, if they don't understand how to get an internship or where to go or where to start, call us. We will get you connected with the right party to get that student an internship, get you an internship for your place of employment. But I'm wholeheartedly supportive of this, and I think it needs to be just exclamation points afterwards.
Thank you, Regent. Bob?
Yeah, I would just second what Tim said, and I think that this also, the thing I was really pleased about, this recognizes sometimes you have some inevitable conflicts you just simply cannot get around, no matter how hard you have tried and worked at it, and so then we are stepping up to cover that cost. So that 4-year guarantee really is a guarantee as far as cost is concerned, and I think that's significant and important.
Any other comments? Keisha?
Regent Hemmer.
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim.
Yes.
Regent Cradaville.
Yes.
Regent Limbach.
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
Regent Whites.
Yes.
Regent Clare.
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 11A3. Approval is requested to eliminate the Bachelor of Arts in Hospitality, Restaurant, and Tourism Management in the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. The Hospitality, Restaurant, and Tourism Management HRTM degree program in the Kasner is duplicative of the university's HRTM degree program offered by the College of Education and Human Sciences. There are 27 students enrolled in the Kasner major. These students will continue the program in the Kasner without any changes in their degree program. No new students would be enrolled in the Kasner degree program. Eliminating the degree within Kasner will allow for a more unified HRTM program that provides a better student experience. The elimination contributes towards the Institute of Agriculture and Natural Resources 2020 budget reductions. No net savings to UNL, however. IANR will net $22,706 in annual salary savings for a 0.5 FTE staff position shifted to CEHS. This proposal has been reviewed by the Council of Academic Officers and the Academic Affairs Committee. I recommend it to you for your approval.
Someone like to make that motion?
So moved.
Bob makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Jack? Any discussion? Seeing none?
Regent Ibrahim.
Yes.
Regent Cradaville.
Yes.
Regent Limbach.
Yes.
Regent Hemmer.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
Regent Whites.
Yes.
Regent Clare.
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, with your approval, I'd like to address the next three items together. Items 11A4, 11A5, and 11A6 are eliminations of undergraduate certificates in the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. There is no student demand for the Leadership Undergraduate Certificate administered by the Department of Agricultural Leadership, Education, and Communication. The Legal Studies Undergraduate Certificate offered by the Department of Agricultural Economics and the Nebraska Beef Industry Scholars Undergraduate Certificate administered by the Department of Animal Science. Despite elimination of the Leadership Undergraduate Certificate, leadership courses and the experiences remain available to UNL students through coursework and co-curricular experiences throughout the campus. The UNL Nebraska Beef Industry Scholars Undergraduate Certificate has been replaced by a Nebraska Beef Industry Scholars minor associated with the Bachelor of Science in Animal Science. This is curriculum cleanup. Coursework for 2 of these certificates is part of other degree offerings. There will be no savings associated with these eliminations. These proposed eliminations have been reviewed by the Council of Academic Officers and the Academic Affairs Committee. I recommend them to you for your approval.
Is there an issue with putting all 3 together? If not, we'd entertain a motion to approve 11A4, 5, and 6.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on this motion of 3? Keisha?
Regent Cradaville.
Yes.
Regent Limbach.
Yes.
Regent Hemmer.
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
Regent Whites.
Yes.
Regent Clare.
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 11A7. Approval is requested to create a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Acting in the Johnny Carson School of Theater and Film in the Hickson Lead College of Fine and Performing Arts at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. The proposed Bachelor of Fine Arts in Acting, BFA, will significantly augment the current offerings by educating and engaging the individual artists through immersion in a sequence of in-depth experiential learning practices developed to prepare the student for a career in theater, film, and new media. Upon approval, UNL will cease enrolling students in the Bachelor of Arts in Theater performance option and allow current students to complete their program of study or convert to the new major. This proposed degree program has been reviewed by the Council of Academic Officers and the Academic Affairs Committee. I recommend it to you for your approval.
Thank you, President Carter. Is there a motion to approve 11A7?
So move.
Regent Stark, is there a second?
Second.
Didn't see where that came from. Barb? Thank you. Is there any comments on this motion?
I just want to say UNL right now is one of the only Big Ten schools that doesn't have an acting and fine arts degree available to students. I think this will really give UNL the opportunity to compete with the other Big Ten schools or really make us stand out and really give the Nebraska students that want to stay in Nebraska the opportunity to stay. So I really agree and want everyone to say yes to this resolution. So.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
And it's just fine arts in acting. Why would we call it fine arts in drama? It's just vocabulary. I'm just curious.
Susan?
I could give a thought. Maybe Susan or Ronnie could give a comment.
Yeah.
Regent White's, it's just the industry standard
It's
in
what
the
they
field.
use. Okay, thank you. It must have been my 40-year-ago degree.
Anything else? Any questions or comments? Keisha?
Regent Limbach,
Yes.
Regent Hemmer,
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim,
Yes.
Regent Cradaville,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
The motion passes.
The last item in academic affairs is item 11A8. Approval is requested to create a Master of Arts, MA, in History and Government in the Department of History and Department of Political Science in the College of Arts and Sciences at the University of Nebraska at Omaha. The proposed program will better address the needs of secondary social studies teachers who may need to teach dual enrollment college courses in history and government. The departments have worked to integrate their individual government and history 18 credit-hour certificates into a fully online or in-person/online hybrid 36 credit-hour master's degree. Credits earned towards either graduate certificate will apply towards the proposed program. The proposed degree program has been reviewed by the Council of Academic Officers and the Academic Affairs Committee. I recommend it to you for your approval.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Herbert, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Bob? Any discussion?
I just want to say that the increased awareness of so many school systems across the country about the use of dual degrees really means there's a great need for this program.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Excuse me. I think it provides a great level of diversity of education. And when you consider the fact that, I can't remember the statistic, but how many jobs haven't been invented yet for students coming that are in school right now, that those jobs will be filled. It's I think getting that diversity is extraordinarily important.
Regent Clare? Anyone else?
Regent Hemmer,
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim,
Yes.
Regent Cradaville,
Yes.
Regent Limbach,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Moving to business and finance.
Mr. Chairman, with your approval, I would ask that items 11B1 through 11B4, approval of the 2021-2022 Fund B University Program and Facilities Fee for UNK, UNL, UNMC, and UNO be considered together. Fund B fees represent the portion of the university program and facilities fees designated to pay debt services, staff salaries, facility maintenance, and other related expenses. These fees are vetted each year by student government and help support important student programs such as student health, mental health services, campus recreation, student unions, and transportation services such as shuttles. The proposed 2021-22 fees at UNK and UNMC are flat, no change from the current year. Small increases are proposed at UNO and UNL to address salary and benefit increases. The proposed fees were reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend them to you for your approval.
President Carter, is there a problem with holding those 11B1 through 11B4 together? If not, we would entertain a motion to put the.
So moved.
Motion's been made by Jim. Second? Cool. Any comments on any of the four amendments?
I'd just like to speak to the increase at UNO. Students don't like to pay more fees, but I think that the very tiny increase that did happen is worth it. We need to pay our people at UNO well, because ultimately having good staff and whatnot at UNO helps improve the student experience. And so, while it is an increase, I think it's an increase that's really going to help promote the student experience and advance the student experience at UNO. So, yes.
I'd like to make a comment. I think the small fee increase, considering how we beefed up mental health services at UNO and really all the campuses, is going to really pay off for us. It's been a major concern for everybody. Thank you.
Regent, anyone else? Batul?
I just want to say that at UNL we have profound faculty and staff that definitely do deserve a salary increase. So I really support this and think that, kind of following what Regent Hemmer said, that it will really increase the student experience on campus, but also create a positive campus climate, making sure that we're treating our faculty and staff with a certain regard. On top of that, I've read a lot of studies about the increase in mental health problems with students post-pandemic. So at UNL, the increase of student fees that are going to go towards CAPS to really make services more accessible to students and to really make sure students are coming on campus knowing that they're supported and that we hear them. So, yeah, I approve the budget.
Regent? Any other comments? Jim?
I would like to give a kudos to all the teams because it wasn't in the improvement of operational efficiency, because it wasn't very long ago where we would have 5% and 6% budget increase requests. So to the chancellors and your teams, I applaud being able to provide tremendous student services, doing more with less and being efficient. I'm very appreciative of it.
Anyone else?
Regent Ibrahim?
Yes.
Regent Cradaville?
Yes.
Regent Limbach?
Yes.
Regent Hemmer?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor?
Yes.
Regent Ferris?
Yes.
Regent Pillen?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Clare?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, with your approval, I would ask that items 11B5 and 11B6, approval of the 2021-2022 operating budgets for the University of Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture, be considered together. I shared some comments on our proposed budget earlier, so I won't duplicate those other than to reinforce how pleased we are with our fiscal position. I want to thank the chancellors for their leadership throughout this difficult period. I want to thank all of you for pushing us to be very thoughtful, strategic, and disciplined in our budget planning. We've had to make some tough decisions, but we have done it for the long-term growth and success of the university. I feel very good about this budget that we are bringing before you today and the trajectory we are on. I recommend the proposed budget for both NCTA and the University of Nebraska to you for your approval.
Thank you, President. Is it okay that we leave 11B5 and 11B6 together?
Yes.
So then we would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the two?
So I want to talk about this budget and how this budget is a win for students. Through and through this budget, we invest in students and we show our commitment to student success. My fellow student regents are going to speak more to the specifics of this, but I think the important part about this budget is it invests in affordability. It invests in our faculty, which is an investment in students. Better faculty, you have a better learning environment. And then finally, investing in our buildings and making sure that we have some of the best facilities in the nation. So like I said, my fellow student regents are going to speak more to that. But I just want to say this budget is a win. This budget is an investment in students. And thank you to everybody that worked on this budget. It shows like the true commitment that we continuously talk about. We're investing in students and we're for students. This budget really, for lack of a better term, puts the money where our mouth is. So like, thank you so much for everybody that worked on this budget. It's so appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I did feel moved to speak particularly on the expansion of the merit pool by 4.5% over the next 3 years. I had talked to Mr. Chris Kavorik about this at length, and I know that at UNMC's Faculty Senate, this is a topic that was brought up to you, President Carter. It's been a topic of concern at UNMC amongst the faculty, and I think it's important for the students twofold. First of all, whether we like it or not, being able to attract faculty from across the nation to increase the network is really important for health profession students for being able to continue their training. So I think that is number one, important to be able to have a diverse pool of faculty for education. Number two, being able to retain talent from the state of Nebraska, whether they go off and train and coming back at UNMC, is really important to invest in the community and the clinics around the Omaha, Nebraska area at large. So very excited about the expansion of the merit pool there. Thank you.
Regent. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like to touch, kind of wrapping up what Taylor and Maeve had said. A big part of this is that deferred maintenance part of the budget. And I know we have talked about that a lot, so I'm going to try to not circle around as much. But if we're bringing in these state-of-the-art students, students that are from Nebraska, students outside Nebraska who are coming for this affordability, students that we need here in the university who are going to spearhead us moving forward, if we're bringing in these all-star faculty members, I mean, we have recently proven that we can bring in top talent across the nation, and we're going to continue to do so. I think especially with this budget, I think putting us in a position of strength is almost an understatement, as President Carter said. And the only fair way to treat these students and these faculty is to put them in state-of-the-art facilities. And I think that everything that we have outlined in this budget as far as deferred maintenance and putting up new facilities, upgrading old facilities, I think that's just going to put the faculty and the students in a position that they deserve to be in.
Thank you, Regent. Batul.
Something that Dr. Susan Fritz said that has really stuck with me was that the main purpose of the University of Nebraska systems is to educate its students. So I've really been thinking about that today when I'm looking at the budget, how this will give us an opportunity to make sure that our education across the NU systems is accessible to Nebraska students, that we will be educating them, that they will be going to the workforce and giving back to the well-being and the future of Nebraska. So as a fellow student, I think that this budget really does speak to our commitment to the student body, the current one, but also the future Huskers, because, UNO and UNK students that will be on our campuses here pretty soon. So yeah, I just want to commend everyone that has worked on this budget and really speak to how this is an investment in Nebraska's future.
Liz?
I also want to take a moment to recognize that this budget is the reality of years of hard work and discipline. It's the result of creativity, expertise, and a commitment to the future of the University of Nebraska. It's a budget that will create a positive impact in the lives of students, faculty, staff, and the people of Nebraska. So I want to thank my fellow regents, Regent Emeritus Hawks, President Carter, Vice President Koborak, the chancellors, and the countless university members that work hard to make this a reality. I think it's very rare probably for a university to have rave reviews at a budget meeting, and I know that doesn't happen overnight, and I know that hard work goes on behind the scenes. So thank you. We're all very excited about it, and I think that for the first time in many years of hard budgets, we feel that this really reflects our values in the core of our mission. So I appreciate all the work that everyone's done.
Any other comments? Chancellors, you've had a big part in this, and I would hope you're excited. Do you have any comments about?
We certainly are very excited about a positive budget, yes, but I would just draw an underline into the commitment of the additional funding to enhance faculty salaries that is in this budget for the coming year, and I think plans ahead for more to allow us to be competitive in the marketplace for the very best faculty.
Just want to echo Chancellor Green's comments about being able to invest in faculty to recruit and retain the best and the brightest, which creates the learning environment, the research infrastructure, the community engagement, and, by the way, the economic development that our state needs and will continue to need to attract our students to stay in the community. But I also want to underscore that this budget gives the chancellors an opportunity to look into the future very clearly. It sets the stage for planning, which over my nearly 8 years here has been somewhat difficult from year to year. And I just want to commend President Carter and Mr. Koborak and others for all of the hard work to do that, because with that stability, we can really plan in a very meaningful way for the future.
Chairman Kinney, I think budgets are a reflection of the values of the university. And so it's refreshing to hear people talk about their pride and the values of the university, and it gets reflected in that budget. Oftentimes we tend to nitpick budgets, but it's refreshing to hear people talk about the good value of the university, and they can see that through the budget. There's lots of hard work yet to do. This is not over. You will all get cards and letters and phone calls about decisions that we make on the campuses, and I'm confident that you have the patience and the ability to talk to us and question what we're doing and why, and provide those experiences back to the people who contact you.
Thank you. Anyone else? From the chairman's chair, I mean, it's been relatively painless to do something this massive, and you could sure expect a lot more controversy than we've had, and appreciate the entire team along with the legislature that has made it relatively easy. So at that point, with no comments, Tim, is that a comment?
Oh, no.
You're holding your hand up like this.
Sorry.
I don't know if you're praying or.
No,
He's praying.
Taking it all in.
Okay. Stacia?
Regent Cradaville,
Yes.
Regent Limbach,
Yes.
Regent Hemmer,
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, with your approval, I would ask that items 11B7 and 11B8 be considered together. These items seek your approval and authorization to execute standard form guaranteed maximum price contracts for the new fraternity and sorority life housing project at UNK and the Kiewit Hall engineering facility at UNL. You previously approved the program statements and budgets for these projects. Due to sharply rising costs of construction materials, we are expediting the timeline on both of these projects as much as we can. Your approval of these contracts today will allow us to move up our timelines by at least 1 month. And in today's construction environment, every day counts. The Business and Finance Committee reviewed the proposal, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Thank you.
So moved.
There's a second.
Second.
Any comments? Yes, sir.
I would like to touch on the importance of UNK's FSL housing. I'm sure over this past year you guys have heard plenty about how important the FSL community is to UNK. So I'm going to just kind of reiterate the importance of that. FSL community does make up 15% of UNK's student body, And on average, they donate over 25,000 hours of their time to the community, raise thousands and thousands of dollars for different philanthropic events throughout the years. Their GPA really sets the tone academically on campus, and overall, a lot of leaders from UNK's community come from the FSL community itself. But I think that this item that we're voting to approve right now goes a lot farther than just the FSL community at UNK. There's a lot of exciting things coming to UNK in the coming years, and I'll be honest, Lopers are very excited for it. Everybody is, talking about housing right now. There's a lot of different renovations happening, deferred maintenance, other projects that the Chancellor and Vice Chancellor Watts and Vice Chancellor Bisek have been working tirelessly at, and a lot of people are excited for it. But there's not a lot that's much more discouraging to students than construction times that are lasting much longer than they should. So I think that this is going to send a very great message to UNK's student body, tell them that the university is prioritizing this, that they want UNK to grow, and I think students are going to very much appreciate this and be very excited for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe you can come back and get your master's. Any other comments? Aisha?
Regent Limbach,
Yes.
Regent Hemmer,
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim,
Yes.
Regent Cradaville,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, with your approval, I would ask that items 11B9, 10, and 11 be considered together, as they all seek your approval to acquire several parcels of land around the UNMC campus. In support of UNMC's master plan, the university continues to work with nearby property owners in acquiring parcels of land that are critical to UNMC expansion. The parcels of land are adjacent to the UNMC campus and are critical to maximizing future development opportunities and flexibility. The Business and Finance Committee reviewed the proposed acquisitions, and I recommend them to you for your approval.
President, does anyone have a problem of putting these together? Not, we need a motion.
So moved.
Jim, thank you. Any second? Any discussions on these motions?
I'd just like to make a request in terms of, since it's been 2 years since I started, and we have new people, Regent Stark and our new student regents, it would be very helpful to have some access or knowledge of access to the master plan for our campuses, to see how this all fits together. And so I would request that that gets sent to every regent, if possible.
Thank you, Regent. Any other comments?
Dr. Gold?
Thank you. Regent Weiss, in this particular instance, I'd be more than pleased, and I'm sure my fellow chancellors would, to actually walk any member of the regents through the facility master plan, because they do exist, and I think it does produce at least a tentative picture of what the future facilities planning looks like. It changes every day, of course, but all of these property acquisitions are solidly within the UNMC master plan.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Jim?
I was going to maybe, Regent Weiss, add that serving on business and finance and being a part of all the strategic thought and conversations that Chancellor Gold and the UNMC team has done over the years, and very, very precisely looking and taking advantage of opportunities as they arise, and futuristic looking has been very impressive. And because of that leadership in the last 6, 7, 8 years, it's really incredible when you come in south on 42nd Street, and then you look at the campus and you look at the entry, and there were probably some things that I criticized a few years ago that seemed to be a little too much, but in the end, we have a campus that is evolving to not be a 500-mile medical center that was the goal originally, and now it's evolving to be global, and it's extraordinary. So but you need to get to see it as much as ever, and so that's been one really cool thing, is serving on business and finance, and the team, the work that everybody's done. It's been.
Any other comments? My comments would be a little bit outside the motion, Barb, but it's part of not being able to do the campus tours and meetings at the Med Center, at Kearney, at UNO. So if we get back to that, we have the ability to look at the things that are going on at campus, and I'd be excited that we start working on that process now of adding the campus meetings back into it. Any other comments on this particular motion? Alicia?
Regent Hemmer.
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim.
Yes.
Regent Cradaville.
Yes.
Regent Limbach.
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
Regent Whites.
Yes.
Regent Clare.
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 11B12 seeks your approval of the program statement and budget for the Kaiser Hall renovation, which will include space for the Samuel Bach Museum and Academic Learning Center at UNO. I'm excited about this project for many reasons. First, the Samuel Bach Museum and Academic Learning Center has been identified through UNO's strategic planning process as one of its 6 big ideas to be funded on campus. This will truly be a world-class facility hosting over 500 pieces of Samuel Bach's artwork, which this board accepted at our April meeting. In addition, the renovation of Kaiser Hall represents the first project to be funded from our LB 384, previously known as LB 588, deferred maintenance partnership with the state. Through that landmark legislation, we recently were able to sell $400 million worth of bonds at historically low interest rates to address building repair and renewal needs across all of our campuses, as well as the Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture. This will be the first of many projects that we'll be bringing to the board over the next several months. Again, I want to thank Senator John Stinner for his unwavering leadership on this issue, as well as members of the Appropriations Committee, the Legislature, and Governor Ricketts for their support. Details of the proposal are already in your agenda item, and I know we've had a lot of discussion, but I'd offer Chancellor Jeff Gold a chance to say a couple additional comments on this.
Just to echo what President Carter said, this is truly a historic opportunity to bring not only the art and artistry of Mr. Samuel Bach, who is probably the greatest living Holocaust artist in the world today, to have the largest collection and make it a visitor destination for students and scholars from all over the world, but also to grow our academic programs in Holocaust and genocide studies, in human rights, programs in philosophy, in fine arts and media. It's truly a unique opportunity, and to the ability to marry the LB 588, at least I still call it that, state funds, to the private philanthropic community's goal of making this happen is truly remarkable. And finally, for those of you that have not been exposed to Mr. Bach's art, I actually have several copies of this monograph that was created when he was gracious enough to visit us and to allow us to display approximately 100 pieces of his art. The 525 pieces that were accepted by the Board of Regents in the April meeting are just the first of over 3,000 pieces, his entire personal collection of retrospective going back to age 7. So this is a truly historic day for all of Holocaust and genocide studies nationally and internationally, and a historic day for UNO and the University of Nebraska. So thank you so much.
The Business and Finance Committee reviewed the proposal, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Tim, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any comments? I would make one on Business Affairs meeting. It's almost like a double win, where Liz O'Connor said that it was not a very good place to have classes, but it will be a great place to turn into a museum. So it's a double win for the state.
And it will continue to be a classroom.
And by the way, the building has no windows, which is what makes it so terribly useful for a museum and not so great for being a classroom.
Thank you. Any other comments? Alicia?
Regent Ibrahim.
Yes.
Regent Cradaville.
Yes.
Regent Limbach.
Yes.
Regent Hemmer.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
Regent Whites.
Yes.
Regent Clare.
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
Regent O'Connor.
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 11B13 seeks your approval of UNO's Department of Public Safety joining an interlocal agreement allowing cooperating law enforcement agencies within Douglas and Sarpy counties to provide assistance in times of emergency or other needs. As you know, partnerships are a key priority in our 5-year strategic plan, and I think joining this interlocal partnership that allows our UNO safety officers to partner with their law enforcement colleagues in Douglas and Sarpy County, it makes a lot of sense. Additional details about the benefits of the partnership are included in your agenda packet. The Business and Finance Committee reviewed the agreement, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
So moved.
Motion's been made. How about a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any comments?
I'm going to abstain from this, not because of any of the merits of it, but just I work for Douglas County and just want to make sure there's no conflict of interest.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I just think it's one of those that just makes total sense. I mean, why would we not want to do this to enhance the ability of our own people and then to turn around and contribute to areas that might need additional help? And cooperative makes tons of sense most all the time, and it certainly does here.
Any other comments?
Regent Cradaville?
Yes.
Regent Limbach?
Yes.
Regent Hemmer?
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Clare?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor?
Abstain.
Regent Ferris?
Yes.
Regent Pillen?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you.
Finally, there are also numerous reports for your review.
I accept the reports listed on the agenda on the behalf of the board. Do we have at this point a motion to go into closed session?
Chair Kenny, I move that the Board of Regents go into closed session as authorized by Section 84-1410 of the revised statutes of Nebraska for the protection of the public interest and to prevent needless injury to the reputation of persons who have not requested a public hearing for the purposes of holding a discussion limited to the following subject: personnel matters involving members of the university staff.
Thank you, Regent. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any discussion? Vote, please.
Regent Limbach?
Yes.
Regent Hemmer?
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim? Regent Cradaville?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Clare?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor?
Yes.
Regent Ferris?
Yes.
Regent Pillen?
Yes.
Four.
Regent Schaefer?
Those are accepted.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
The motion passes.
This.
Thank you. Do we need a,
Everyone's excused except.
excuse me,
Regents.
now we're in closed session. Room, please take with you all the recording devices and personal
Go back into
belongings.
session to it.
Thank you. And this
Havelock.
Violates
UNO hasn't made.
equal protection.